Welcome back to Big Mouth. Fancy seeing you here. Yes, Momoa's Aquaman is king of the dceu. What happened? I thought we didn't want to watch alpha males anymore. Whoops, what happened there? Two female-led movies, barely breaking even globally. But according to Scott Mandelson, they have stopped the Aquaman wave domestically. Scott, nobody cares. I've explained this to you lot on these videos before. Every country is more important than one solitude country who wants to build a wall and stop people from coming in. Sorry, way it works. But the question I'm asking today, how has Aquaman at this point reached 900 million globally? What's the difference between Aquaman, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and Justice League? We have to put that one in there as well, unfortunately. But we have to examine this. What has happened here? It's not because it was released during the Christmas time. It's nothing to do with it. You don't go and see a film automatically, because you could argue that Mary Poppins Returns is more of a Christmassy, seasonal type of film, kind of cuddly, warm, Disney. You would have thought everyone would have flocked to that instead. So what are the key elements of this film? James Wan is a very popular director. The Conjuring, his horror movie stuff with New Line Cinema and Walter Hamada, is massive. So he's already very popular. That is an element of this success. Jason Momoa is a very, very popular man. Now, back in my day, during noir, back in my day, we went to see personalities, not movies. So we all used to flock to see Arnie and Sly Stallone and Van Damme because we wanted to see their next vehicle. And Jason Momoa is very similar to Stallone and Schwarzenegger. He's got something about him that you want to support him. He's a nice guy, but he is this alpha male. I'm not saying his Aquaman is particularly alpha. I think because he spends his whole movie with Mira, and Mira is literally his mentor stroke love interest. But Mira is a lot more than a love interest, and I'm not trying to say, don't get offended now. But the point is, when examining why this film could end up with over $1 billion globally, we have to look at every aspect. Man of Steel, the first Superman film for a while, for me personally, one of the best CBMs I've ever seen, couldn't do it. Why? Well, there's many reasons for that. The reason Man of Steel didn't reach the heights of many MCU movies and Aquaman, or even Wonder Woman, is because it came off the back of Smallville. Smallville was a very, very, very popular show that maybe didn't necessarily finish the way we wanted. I think even the biggest Superman fans will admit that they kind of lost faith in Hollywood giving us a good Superman. And some people just didn't go and watch it. Obviously, there were the memories of Superman Returns, a film I was defending for so many years, and I actually realised people were actually right about it. I still watch it and I still enjoy that film. There are brilliant aspects. So I think Superman movies became kind of tainted, and Superman live action became kind of tainted. And maybe that's what didn't draw people to the cinema. And then obviously word of mouth was saying this was a dark movie. And I think word of mouth does work with films. So people kind of are very precious about what Superman does in his movies. So then we go on to Batman v Superman, which did really well. Was it about just over 850 million globally, but not the heights that you would expect from a Batman and Superman movie. Again, this is a film not for the mainstream audience, but this is a film for kind of people who go and watch independent films. The kind of audience that Logan attracted, kind of thing. And as I've said before, if it was actually marketed in that way and we knew what we were going to get. Now, it didn't bother me because even though I was shocked at what I was seeing, it was a good shock. I loved it. I loved that movie. Suicide Squad was called a mess by critics, but everyone was surprised what it did. I mean, it got a lot of reviews, of rewatches. So it was quite a popular movie with a certain aspect of the audience. A lot of people liked Harley Quinn, for example. She was probably the major element that made the film money. Again, it's a film I liked, not a film I thought was the best ever or anything like that. Then you come to Wonder Woman, which really, I mean, it went just over 800 million, 822 million in the end of its global run. But Wonder Woman, really, when you look at her stature within the kind of characters of DC, should be probably making more than Aquaman. It's just one of those things. People were kind of pleased with what she made, but I think Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman should be at least making $1 billion a movie, and DC and Warner Brothers really have to look at that. Hopefully Wonder Woman 2 1984 does kind of hit those heights, because she deserves it. She is one of the biggest superheroes, and this is coming from a Superman fan, right? And so Justice League was, look, not worth talking about. Justice League, we know what went wrong. And you know, so then we look at Aquaman. So just coming just over a year later after Justice League, a disappointing film for so many fans, right? So what made us decide to embrace this film? Well, first of all, the trailers were very good, but the Justice League trailers were awesome. The Justice League trailers didn't give us any hint that we could be spectators to the biggest of messes. So in that aspect, right, we have to look at it and think, well, why did we trust? Why did we actually trust the DCEU after Justice League? I had to pause it. I don't know if you heard all that, but my mum needed the salt because I always put it on the top shelf. Anyway, yes, so we didn't. Why should we have trusted the trailers? Because we saw an awesome Justice League trailer. So why would we trust Aquaman? It's very, very interesting. This is what I put some of the success down to. Warner Brothers wanted us all to know that they understood we were upset about Justice League, and they made the changes. Unlike Lucasfilm, who just kind of say, no, you the fans are wrong. And Warner Brothers kind of in a silent way said, right, we're changing the structure here. We've brought this guy, Walter Hamada, in. What does this do? Well, anyone who knows New Line Cinema and Walter's work within there knows the man's a genius. So bringing him in to the DCEU, and not just the DCEU, DC films all round, was very, very important, because people know about the work he's done with James Wan and other filmmakers. We know he's a supporter of the vision of a director. And this is what's happening now. So all of a sudden, consumer confidence was returned. And these are little reasons why this film is doing so well. But without the film actually entertaining the audience, people wouldn't have gone back for more. And they have. Another key element, of course, was Warner Brothers deciding to release in China first. Now, I've been talking to a few insiders at Warner Brothers, and they've told me from now on, DC Films and Warner Brothers films will make sure they fit the criteria to be able to release in China. Because as we know, China are very trigger happy about banning movies. So Warner Brothers is the most successful American studio, the most popular American studio in China. It makes more money a year than Disney. This is really interesting. And it's kind of a structure that Disney can't break with the kind of films they make. Now, their acquisition of 20th Century Fox, maybe if they make more hardcore films through that avenue, maybe they can challenge Warner Brothers on that. But this is a great armory for Warner Brothers. I would expect them to release all their movies in China first, making sure they fit the criteria of what the Chinese government expect from films. Now, you might say that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we need this. If you're a Warner Brothers fan, if you're a DC fan, we need this. This has shown a chink in the Disney armour, and it's something that Warner Brothers can do now. They release in China before the film's even reviewed in America. People in America and around the world see how popular it is. Boom, it's the domino effect, and this is what's happened. And this is what having Walter Hamada running this franchise has done, because he's not just a very clever man in terms of choosing people to make films and making sure films have got the right structures around them. He's a money man. He can structure a lot of things. So he's very clever all round. And this is why I think people who haven't heard of him, because he's not Kevin Feige. He's not going to come out. He's not going to give it all that. He's not that kind of leader. Now, maybe eventually he will have the confidence to come out and start talking. Now, if we flip it over to Shazam, Shazam is his movie, not in the sense of who's made the film, David F. Sandberg, but David F. Sandberg was his appointment. You know, this is a New Line Cinema production as well as a Warner Brothers production. Warner Brothers own New Line Cinema anyway, so that's irrelevant. But they're an entity all of their own. So this is the first time this total new vision of the DCEU will be realised. And we got some exciting news about the trailer. They said a few things, and I'm going to look this up. Was it the 7 deadly sins are going to be in it or something like that? I'm going to look all this information up and do a special Shazam video. But basically looking at Aquaman and why it made the money it did. Now, I remember posting this morning on Twitter saying it's really funny how the pundits got the tracking wrong. And someone goes, no, actually, they got the domestic opening right. No, I don't care about domestic openings. I care about global openings. I care about full box offices. And the bloggers said this film would struggle to make 600 million. Some people were even predicting, laughingly, 550. And look what it's on, 900 million. And even if it doesn't reach $1 billion, right, don't let the haters get you down. This is a great box office for this film. This is a really, really good film. But this is not the best superhero film that's ever been made. It's really good. And for a really good superhero film to make this kind of money is amazing, because it means that the DCEU can reach these audiences. And it's very, very good news.